Happy Sunday, apprentices! So it's time for Sunday setups. I just finished shoveling my walkway. A little cold. We've got two storms in 2 days, so a lot of snow here in Colorado. So if this is your first time on the channel, welcome. I'm Clayton Allen, the host of the Day Trading Plumber podcast and the founder of AllenFx. So every Sunday, I go through all the majors and crosses currency pairs in the Forex market, and we look for trades. And like I've said many other times, I'm just plotting supply and demand zones on a daily chart. Doesn't mean the second price gets into those zones, we take the trade, but it does mean those are highly probable areas where we want to be looking for trades in that direction. All right, let's jump right into it. So, as you guys know, I use TradingView charts, and it's free. They do have paid versions. If you do upgrade, it just allows you to use more indicators on your charts and a few other great tools. All right, so let's go from Australian dollar. Let's go from top down. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. Sorry for that. Okay, we're already on the daily. As you can see, I leave my zones up from the week before. We'll make any adjustments that we need. All right, so what we can see here. All right, so what we can see here is we have a good turnaround zone. Last week it got there. Great time to buy. And then look, didn't quite get all the way up to our bearish zone. And now we have this plummet. So all I'm gonna wait for on this pair this week is a drop to this area. And like I said, I missed a lot of my alerts last week because price almost got to our zone. So this week I'm gonna put my alerts a little above those zones. So, man, I really hate having that fundamental. There we go. I'm going to put it right. I'm going to pull this up a little bit. I'm going to put my alert at 88569. Five, 6, 9. Looking to buy. Bam. All right. Australian dollar, Swiss franc. We're probably going to see kind of the same thing going on. Uh-oh, where's my... There it is. Why do we have... Oh, I bet you... Let me turn on my pivots. There we go. Turn on Knoxville Divergence. All right, so... We got this down here because that's where the S2 is. And it looks like, man, that is way out. Let's jump out to a bigger time frame. Man, we are the lowest it's ever been. At least all the way back to, yeah, it's the lowest it's ever been since TradingView charts for sure. All right, enough playing around. All right, there we go. Man, I got my charts all screwed up. All right, so we're all the way down here. We're not bullish till down here. However, there's lots of divergence going on. Jeez, I got my sizing all messed up. Lots of divergence going on. This would have been a great buy trade last week, by the way, and I think we did call that out. I'm actually, because this is the lowest it's ever been, I'm going to look to get bullish if we get back down to that bottom, and it looks like we might. Or if you think this was the big turnaround, right? So, that's the wrong tool. Man, I'm just screwing up all kinds today. So, if you think that this was the turnaround, And it very likely could be because we had this divergence on the daily. Look at price came down, touched the 618, and is now coming back up. So some of you may have took this buy trade off this bounce. And it's not a bad play because price went up, touched pivot. You have this retracement. And, you know, we have a lot of signs that this is a big turnaround. So you might just get a huge movement up from here. So not a bad play if you're looking long on this pair. I personally, I want to see if price comes back down to 64998. That's where I'll want to buy from. 64998. Bam. All right. Okay, so I actually like this pair long. If we get a push back down, I like this pair long. And it may come all the way up to there this week. We may have already missed it, but this is what I'm looking for. Or if we get another push down here, even better. So option one, we hit our alert. We're going to start looking to be long anywhere in this region. I'll go ahead and change because I think we'll probably more than likely get a little bit of pullback down here today on the open. We're going to look to get long. I love this divergence. I don't think we got enough production out of it. It came up to the pivot and now it has pulled back. I love this pair long for the rest of this week. Looks like we have quite a bit of fundamentals coming out, you know, this week on the pair. So let's look at AUD JPY. So we had a upward trend. We had a break of this trend. We came all the way down here. So this is an obvious bullish zone to be looking. Again, we don't have all that Knoxville divergence that we saw in the last Australian dollar Swiss franc. However, I think, like I said last week, I think the JPY is going to have a big month. So I think this was a great place to, let's just, man, I'm struggling today. All right, so if we took a Fibonacci on this impulse leg, came up to the 0.5, 50%, and then now is just rip roaring down. So I'm bearish this pair. And man, we could get all the way down here. So I'm liking this pair short from where it's at least to this level. And you see here why. Yeah. So we missed taking that sell trade up here. But if we get some sort of little pullback back up to this bearish area, bam. See, because we had the break and it looked like a false break, but our pivot was just a bit above it. So then bam, that's what I like, especially if we get a retest of that pivot. All right, let's get on a roll here. So this one we have red because we took a trade on it. Still in this trade. So here's why. Let me make this a little bit bigger. We have a pretty good resistance level, pretty good support level. So I'm expecting price to come back down. Obviously, if we get a solid break, but we didn't, you can see that pin bar indecision candle, just like we got here, and now we're, you know, we have a small bullish candle showing, but if it breaks above, we'll get out. If not, we're gonna play this pair all the way back down. Australian dollar, US dollar. Okay, so the U.S. dollar had an amazing week last week, non-farm payroll, and then what was really weird is we had good numbers. That was this push last week on the U.S. dollar, and then we had a drop. So here we are at a very very strong support level, and now, uh, you know, we gotta decide: is it gonna respect this level? I think it is. I think we're gonna get a false breakout type scenario, and then we are going to get a good push back up to this missed pivot. So let me draw that on here. I think we're going to get a good push back up to that missed pivot this week, at least on this pair. Um, let's jump all the way out to the monthly. Yeah, I mean, we're in a really big turnaround point. This was as low as it got in 2008. Then the dollar went rip roaring. Look at the divergence on a monthly. Man, that would have been a good trade. You would have held it for years, but it would have been pretty good. All right, let's get back to serious now. I'm getting a little crazy. So I'm going to set my alert. Hell, I'm going to make this one red because I'm already in alert. Let me go back to this one. This one's red because we're in the trade. Okay, CAD Swiss franc. All right, we're in an obvious downward trend. Doesn't take rocket scientists to see that, right? We bounced in our bullish zone, and price came up, touched the pivot. So what I'm expecting now is you trend traders, that move. So I like this one short. So this one is red. I like this one short right out of the gate. If we're gonna follow the trend, yeah, I like this one short. I'm gonna leave my arrow on at least to there as a TP1. This could be a TP2, so I'm gonna draw that right there. So that one I'm gonna leave red. Canadian JPY. You can see what we predicted here last week came true. We had a little pullback. Let me get these arrows out of the way. We had a pullback to our bearish zone, and then bam, dropped all the way to our bullish zone, bounced. Now, is this where we get bearish? Former support becomes new resistance. Yes, I like how this is following, and now I think we're going to get a bigger push down. Or we could get a push a little bit higher to here, and we kind of form this head and shoulders. But I kind of like what I'm already seeing on Friday, and like we've already identified, the JPY I feel is going to get stronger. So this is a good trade to take a sell right out of the gate after we see what price action does on the open. This one's red because it's primed and ready to go. Swiss franc JPY. We've already identified we think the JPY is going to get stronger. However, the other safe currency is the Swiss franc. So I'm going to wait to see what price does here. And if we get a push here, it could go either way. This is where we're going to trade up from there. Or if we get a solid break, I like it down to there. All right. Let's keep going. Euro AUD. All right. Let's see what we have on here. Okay. So, we put this Fibonacci on here, and then you see how it came all the way down, touched the 618, is now shooting up. So let's get some of this noise out of here. I like this pair at least coming back up to where we already have our alert. That's pretty much what we looked for last week. However, see how it missed it? Missed it because we were waiting for this push we were going to sell from up here. It didn't quite hit trigger it. Ooh, I don't want to move that. I want to move my alert down to there. Save. So now that's what I'm looking for. However, this is primed, ready for a long right out. The only thing that is kind of messing me up with the long is this was last week's pivot. So you got some fundamentals coming out early in the week. It pretty much hovered right around the pivot. So I'm going to wait to see what price does. If it pulls back down to this area, I'll look long up to there. If it continues long, I'm just going to be patient, let it get up to this area, and take my sell trade from up here. So this one's orange. Euro Swiss franc. All right, so we have divergence on the daily. We haven't got any production out of it. We have this missed pivot. So we're in a good area to take a sell trade here. Now, if we think, sorry, it's a little cold in the basement today. Like I said earlier, it's snowing here pretty heavily the last few days. So I still think this plays true. I'm going to keep this one red because I want to see. I'm going to put an alert. This one I'm going to play a little safer. I'm going to put an alert right here, 07330, and look for a breakout of those looking. Yeah, if we get a break up to this pivot of these former highs of last week, that's a good buy trade. It's a safe buy trade. We are in this downward trend. However, this is a strong support line that dates way back. And remember, institutions look at these bottoms, and that's when they inject lots and lots of cash. However, Swiss franc is revered as a safe currency compared to the dollar, just like the yen. So if we think the dollar is in a shaky mode right now, the Swiss franc's going to get stronger. Okay, let's look at Euro GBP. We have our alert down here. We're looking for a big push down here. We're kind of in this sideways action. So, love a push all the way down to here. Probably more this area, but this is a pretty volatile pair right now. So I'm going to kind of stay away from it unless we get into one of our zones. So I'm going to keep it orange. Euro, GBP, Euro, oh man, Japanese yen. So we had a break of this trend line. We took a trade and it did not work out for us. So now it's back to where we opened that trade, hit the pivot. I think this thing's going to continue all the way down to at least there, possibly all the way down to here. The safer trade is to wait for it to break this area. These lows of last week. So if you get a break of that, bottom's falling out. If some of you may have caught this sell right at the pivot last week, good for you. And you're already in big profit. So I'm not bearish till there again. Unless we get a break and we see it come up, retest, then I'm going to get bearish right at these lows. So right now I'm going to kind of wait to see what price does on this pair. We're going to turn it orange. Let's go set our alert at 119.896. Looking for breakout. Bam. Oh. Put that a little too high. Bam. All right. Euro NZD. So we're in a buy trade on this, and looks like we hit that perfect. Um, and I'll show you guys why. Right? We had divergence, price climbed. We looked for price shot past the pivot, came back to the pivot last week, and it's going to continue its trend. So I'm looking for a TP right here in this bearish zone. Take profit is TP, and why we set it there is we had the missed pivot right here. Now we may want to look at what price does at last week's former high here, looking for a double top situation. But either way, we'll be in some decent profit and we'll be good to go there. So we're going to hold on to this profitable trade to see what we get right about that pivot or the top of last week's high. I don't know why this one's not green. I got all screwed up. All right, Euro US dollar. Wow. So, like I said, the dollar had quite a good week last week. So now that we have a break of this support, you can see the support. Now we're in this downward trend. I'm going to get bearish here, and I'm not bullish again till this area. This S2 price may just skyrocket down to this S2. We've double bottomed on RSI. I'm going to look for this type of move this week. Maybe even that. Why not? So I want to move my alert to right before that now. Now we had that break, and I know there's a lot of traders out there that solely trade this pair, and they're probably sitting there salivating, waiting for the buy, and rightfully so. I mean, if we throw a Fibonacci on this impulse leg, a pullback starting from right where we're at gets us to the 0.38. If we get pullback all the way up to this trend line, that's the 618. So a buy trade is coming on this pair, and I know a lot of people are waiting for it, but a safer trade is wait for the pullback, trade with the trend. That's if you are one of those, die-hard trend traders. That's what you're waiting for. I'm going to be looking for this buy. I think the euro is going to rebound a little bit. I think the dollar is going to suffer a little bit this week because such a strong week last week. So it's not a bad buy. Looking here soon. You got to have a smaller time frame confirmation, maybe a trend line break on a 5-minute, and then, ride this thing back up. So this one, man, no wonder why I like this one red because I want to look for a buy right away. Euro CAD. All right, so we have this trend line drawn here. Kind of broke it here, came down to our bullish zone. I still like this as a strong support. I think price going to come back down to here. Let's extend this out. And this is where I'm going to look for a buy back up to last week's pivot. If we get a solid break of this support, anything can happen down to let's go to a monthly. Yeah, this thing, I like this all the way down to these support ranges. So that's a big if, right? What is price going to do here? That's what we're going to wait for. I'm going to set alert right above our zone at 44777. Looking to buy. Bam. So that way this triggers, I get a chance to see what price is doing in that area. And if you watch these videos on Sunday, but aren't on my Telegram channel, jump on my Telegram channel. I have a free one, I have a paid one where you can see all the trades I take. But the free one, I post all my trade ideas in real time, right as these alerts get triggered. Get a little bit better close up of if and when you should take the trade. This one I'm going to leave orange. GBP AUD. So just like the Euro AUD, this pair and that pair kind of correlated. We had this pullback, and now we're starting to see a possible launch back up to our bearish zone. So what I'm going to look for is a push up to here, and then we might get a pullback. So where it sits now, it's kind of anywhere zone. It came and didn't stop on the pivot. It broke this former resistance level here, came up, retested it. So we could possibly get a pull all the way back down to this trend line. I probably should draw it more like this. That's what I truly believe is going to happen, and I'm gonna look for a trade right here for a buy, 89,800. That's the safer way to go about it. Bam. Okay, GBP CAD. You can see we had quite a bit of thought put into this last week. We didn't quite get this double top. So now, is this going to be a big reversal area? So what we're going to want to do is, let's get rid of all this. We were wrong. It's okay. I want to see what price is going to do here in this level. So 7294. Looking for buy. Now, I want to remind you guys, just because I put in my notes looking for buy, just because I have it say bullish, I really just want to see what price is going to do here. If we get a solid break through this level, I'm going to move my bearish here. I'm going to look for a pullback and then get bearish on this pair, which is a big trade. Right? If we get that and we get the pullback and we get bearish, right, we could ride this thing all the way down to these levels. So I just want to remind you guys that. British pound, Swiss franc. Ooh, we got quite a little bit mess going on here. Let's get rid of this. Price is kind of snuggled in between these two support and resistance zones. I think overall we're getting a good turnaround. This looks like a head and shoulders retest of that, then this strong bearish candle, a little bit of recovery back to the pivot. So I like this pair. From this pivot would have been an awesome sell trade, but I think this thing's going to fall pretty considerable, especially if we see some weakness in the dollar and strength in the JPY. It's going to make the Swiss franc get stronger. And I know in my robot trades, we got caught in a lot of sell trades. The robot took a bunch of sell trades on this pair back in this big run, and then had this big push. But I think we've seen the top on this pair, at least for the next quarter or so. Now, I'm being completely honest, I biasly want this pair to drop. So I'm fighting that urge and trying to keep an open mind, but we did get a break of this support. We did get a retest. We have this double top scenario here the last 2 weeks, and it looks bearish. It looks like we're, if we go to a smaller thought process here, you got a downward trend happening. So I like this pair short, and you have a decent support here. A safer place to put in a rollover trade is if you get a solid break of this support. But we'll just have to see what happens this week. I'm not going to put any alert on it because I'm watching this thing. All right. So you can see British pound, Japanese yen kind of got the same thing going on here. We had this retest. I missed it because I had my alert too high. See my alert? We didn't hit it, so I missed it. I'm going to move this alert right to that pivot now. If we get a retest of that pivot, I want to look bearish because I think overall this thing is we're going to get a good drop. One, I think the JPY is going to get stronger. Two, I think the British pound, we've seen the news on the Brexit. I think some sorrow days are coming for it. I love this pair at least down to this S2. I think we're going to get a bigger break over time, all the way down to this level, maybe. But this week, I'm bearish this pair until we see what happens at this support. Let's just move that there. I'm confusing you guys now. So we want to see what happens there. And if we get a retest of that pivot, that's why I have my alert there. I probably should put one here as well because I want to catch this. 141, 131. See what I did to you guys there? I put looking to sell on breakout. Even though I got my bullish support there, I want to sell here on a breakout. If we get a bounce, I'll be looking to buy. However, this is too tight of a range. I'm really looking for a breakout when I see price stuck this close. All right. British pound, NZD. All right. So we're kind of in an upward trend here. But look at, we had this boom. I missed it because we were looking for the tops there. Probably should have looked for the candle highs. And we would have caught this trade. So I'm going to put it in front so I get it a little bit before it gets there. Price, big bearish candle. Retested the pivot. I love pivots, especially on British pound. They always come back. So if you saw this big stretch by Wednesday, Thursday last week, and you traded it back to the pivot, good for you. It's a good, safe trade. I'll do a class on it maybe here coming up on a Wednesday night, Thursday morning is when I look for these. If price is stretched really far past the weekly pivot, trade back to the pivot. A good strategy, my friend, good friend Rob Booker taught me, and it works very well. So now that it's hit the pivot, it releases its duty, and now we want to see what we get. It could be a great sell trade down to this bullish zone here. However, we want to see what it does at this trend. This trend line, we have quite a bit of fundamentals. We've double topped on RSI. Bam, bam. We could have a really strong reversal here, and it kind of goes with our other GBP pairs. And just have to wait and see, right? I'm going to turn this one red because I think we want to watch what it does here. If we get a pullback all the way up to this zone, bearish all day. I'm bearish all day long from up here. GBP USD. Okay, USD had a great week. Plus, I think we see some weakness coming in the British pound. We had a break of this support. Let's get rid of this arrow. I want to see this move. It's come down to this S2, maybe a little pullback. and that's where we're going to get bearish from. So I'm going to set alert right in front of it. 29476. Bam. Okay, little rebound. Little bit of rebound from last week's strong dollar. Take the sell trade from a retest of that support. I could be a little off, but I think I got my alert in the right spot. Price is sitting right at last week's, or the couple weeks before pivot. So let's see if we can get a nice pullback, catch this trade up here, and possibly have the balls to hold it and let it make us some money. Okay, so the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. So, if let's get rid of, we called this one out, right? Just saw my arrows. A little pullback, hit the pivot. Then we have it's dying, right? So we have a head and shoulders pattern right here, a break of the neckline, a retest of the neckline. So we have a missed pivot here. So I want to see what price does at this missed pivot zone. It could go either way from there, but that's where we want to enter our idea. We want to see what price does here. If it gets back to this missed pivot, which it looks like it getting close to. Some of you intraday, intra-week, look on a smaller time frame and take this trade. Right now, it's not a good trade to jump into a sell. So, I mean, if you want to be risky, but I think this is the area I want to see what price does here, and I'm going to look either long or short. NZD Swiss franc. Okay, we are in a downward trend. We picked this as our bullish zone. We did not put an alert on, so we did not hit it. Price shot back to its pivot. And then now I'm going to be looking for a double bottom situation here because we're on such strong support. Let's put an alert right here. 62163. Looking to buy. Bam. All right. NZD JPY. All right. So we predicted a bounce all the way back up to our zone. It only got to the pivot and then came back down. We missed it. Dang it. But let's get rid of those arrows. That was last week. So let's get rid of this little trend line. I'm a little mad at myself because we saw this, had the trend line, should have saw this indecision candlestick, some of you price action traders, and it should have had that buy, right? But we were looking for a push all the way back up here. Now that we've had that turn, I'm going to put the alert there. And I think that's where we want to be bearish. And, we missed that trade. Now I want to see what price does here. If you get a break, I love it all the way down here. But this week, if we get a pull all the way down to this bullish zone, we're going to get bullish from there. We may get a pullback up retest of this. If we do, I got my alert. I have plenty of time to watch, see what happens here. So, like I said, I think JPY is going to get stronger. Just got a hunch. Sometimes you got to go with those hunches. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. So, we didn't get that pull like we did, and now we're sitting on bullish. So, I'm going to move my alert. I'm going to move it to here. Here's why. I think we're going to get a small pullback. And maybe a possible break. All right, so I think we're going to get a little bit of a pullback here, and this is where I want to look to sell. The former resistance. We don't quite have a break here, so it's not a bad place to look for a good buy trade. However, I think the US dollar had a really strong week. That's this push. I think the New Zealand dollar is going to get stronger, so it's not a bad play for a buy. We have a missed pivot. I actually like this trade a lot better, and I'm going to move my alert to the back side of this and change it looking to buy. So this one I want to turn red because I want to watch this right out of the gate today. Way below RSI, and it's at a really strong support level. We have a missed pivot. Did the dollar overshoot last week? Is the New Zealand dollar coming back? I don't know. So I like this. If anything, it's a good sell from this missed pivot if this feels too risky for you. But I want to see what we get right out of the gate on this pair. US dollar, Canadian dollar. All right. This one is just itching to fall. And if we follow some of our fundamental thoughts, the dollar just kicking ass last week on some good jobs. Historically, if you have good non-farm payroll the week and a strong dollar off of it, you're going to get some strength in the dollar the week after. However, we had good non-farm payroll reports, and then we had some dollar weakness right after. We had a quick surge, then right after weakness, possibly because the dollar is just stretched. And on this pair, I'm bearish all day long. Oh, get off there. Get off there. So I like this pair at least back down to that missed pivot this week. And I'm going to turn it red because I want to get into this trade right away. I think I'm even in some sell trades already on my robot account in this region. So this is really going to help drive it. It's probably going to be a trade I put on here pretty early in our free Telegram channel. Try to catch this one early, ride it out all week. And so don't miss that. Make sure you jump on there. Swiss franc, US dollar, Swiss franc. So here's that dollar strength last week. It jumped all the way up to this missed pivot. I want to see what it's going to do there. And then I'm not bullish again here till we're down to this area. So I actually like this one, a sell from here back down to that this week. It could push all the way up to this R2 level. So that's why I'm not going to jump into this right away. Now, what I will do is I'm going to set an alert on this right before this R2 98205 because I do not want to miss that as a sell. Oop. Bam. So let's see our favorite pair. So we're in a sell trade on this pair. I threw in another rollover trade on this pair last week because on my robot account I've been short this pair for some time. I've dealt with some drawdown. I've got some pain, and we hit this R2 level. I missed it. Got almost out of that stupid trade I took in the conflict, which is right here. And, I didn't close it. let it go against me last week. And then this is what I was telling you guys. We had a great non-farm payroll, and the dollar surged on most pairs. But I saw the tail end of Friday some weakness in the dollar on this pair. We had it surge all the way down to here, and now it's coming back up. But I think this pair short. Ugh, can I put an arrow? Yep. I think all the way back down to last week's pivot. I'm in a big enough rollover trade where if we get that push, I could close this trade out with some profit. It may even get all the way back down to this support because I think we're going to get some strength in the JPY coming up here shortly. Now, why I took it? Because I'm biasly short. I got into a short trade here on the conflict. I thought this was going to be a break of that support. It is in an upward trend, slightly upward trend. So it could be a little dangerous. So those of you that are in my Telegram channels, this is what I'm looking for on those JPY trades. All right, let's just check out the Mexican peso. So we called out this trade last week. I definitely called this push up to this pivot. It hit the pivot, and now I would be short this pair. I don't know why I had that. I'd be short this pair here, and I like it back down to here. That's that surge on the dollar. It's sitting at a nice resistance. I like a push back down to this S2, and then this one would be a good buy. All right, so that concludes this Sunday setup session. I know it was a little rough, and I know I got some quirky ideas. But if you're enjoying these videos, I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. If you disagree with some trades, throw them in there. I want to hear from all of you guys. Just don't put negative comments on there without a little bit of context to why you disagree. I love those guys that just like chopping you down, but they don't have any ideas of themselves. If you haven't yet, jump on my Telegram channel. I have a free one. I have a paid one. Paid one, you get all my discretionary trades in real time with position sizes. The free one, I have, I put all my trade ideas, and I take 2 or 3 trades a week. Typically, what I try to do is get ahead for the week, then I switch over and put my focus onto the paid ones. But first 2 or 3 trades I take on both are the same, just so we get a little bit of experience for those of you that are trading demos and this is your first time out there. And once again, don't forget to check out my podcast, The Day Trading Plumber. I'm on episode 24 now. I'm getting a lot more comfortable, and I'd love to know your comments on that as well. All right, have a great week. Make some money this week. And then don't forget to hit like and follow here and subscribe here on YouTube. All right, have a great day.